Welcome to Small Biz Life, episode 48. What the Olympics can teach us about small business.
Does this sound familiar?
Oh my God, I have so much to do today.
Don't forget to breathe.
But I have almost 400 emails in my inbox and 30 phone calls to make.
Have you looked into getting a virtual assistant yet?
Oh, and I need to schedule all my social media posts.
Did you drink anything today?
I had coffee.
Did you eat today?
Did I mention coffee's a bean?
This is Small Biz Life.
Hey guys, welcome back to Small Biz Life. If you're a returning listener, we appreciate you having us back with us again this week. And if you're new to the show, welcome.
Hello.
I'm Kristen Ingram.
And I'm Jeffrey W. Ingram.
And we are a husband and wife team. I am a CPA and Jeff is an IT analyst. And we're walking with you through this journey on the Small Biz Life.
Yes.
Because we're both small business owners.
Yeah. And we kind of love the process side of it. We kind of like things that most people don't really like in their business.
Right. So, we're helping you kind of simplify things a little bit and enjoy this journey more. Because it really is, it can be a lot of fun. It can give you a lot of freedom that you would not otherwise have in a 9-to-5 job.
Sure. But there's a lot of extra things that you have to do when you have your own small business that you don't have to worry about when you work in that 9-to-5 job. So let us help you get through those other things so you can get to the work you love, so you can spend more time and have a better life with your family.
Perfect. I love it. So the Olympics started this week, and we want to talk a little bit about what you can learn from the Olympics to help improve your business, or at least some things to think about while you're kind of watching the Olympics.
Okay.
So the first thing, and this comes from the opening ceremonies, this is a mistake that I think a lot of small business owners make. Too many sales messages can ruin the experience.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you watched a show, especially something that is highly anticipated as a television experience, and you sit there and maybe like through the first commercial break, it's not too bad, but then it seems like every other minute is another commercial.
Yeah, they were saying that in a 39-minute span during the opening ceremony, there were 6 commercial breaks.
Yeah.
And so think about it, if you're constantly bombarding your ideal customer with sales messages and you're not providing any value, you're going to turn that person off, just like a lot of people complained about the opening ceremony of the games.
Yeah, and when you're a content provider, you have to strike a balance between being able to deliver your content to people in an enjoyable way and trying to monetize it. If your primary means of monetization isn't through the content, you're probably going to further, reduce the amount of advertising that takes place because you want people to use the content to make the connection with you. This message is brought to you by Q. I'm joking.
And even if you're not a content provider, when you provide free value to ideal customers, that helps them become fans of yours. It shows them that your main focus is helping them.
Yeah. Whether
you're constantly generating revenue from them or not.
Yeah. I think it was Tim Grahl, and I'm sorry because I don't remember who specifically came out with this quote, is like, and this was about fiction authors, was, a person who buys your great book will buy your great book. A person who becomes a fan of yours will buy all of your books.
Exactly. Right. And so that's the thing, is like, that's the approach that we take in our business, is we give away a lot of content, a lot of information, and there's not a ton of sales pitch in what we do.
Nope.
But we still generate a tremendous amount of revenue for the things that we charge for.
Yes.
I see this a lot in my local Facebook groups. People are just constantly pitching their sales message.
Yes.
And there's no value provided. Nobody's posting free guides or free tips. Everything is, hey, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing.
I mean, think about it. If you're like us and you join a lot of Facebook groups because you're trying to find interesting new people to interact with and new possible ways to share out your content, but it's really more of a learning thing when you join a Facebook group, and you join the Facebook group and you realize after a day or two that only thing that really happens is people come out with a new piece of content or an idea, they share it. There's no interaction. There's no community within the group. And it's just a long stream of people showing their stuff and
commercials.
After a week or two, how often do you go back to that? I stop.
Right.
If I remember, I even say leave the group, but I usually don't.
Okay. So the second one is stakeholder buy-in is critical for success.
Yes.
And so if you think about kind of the lead up to the Olympic Games this year, there are a lot of people in Brazil that are really unhappy that this is going on. There were protests outside the airport telling people when they were arriving to the airport, welcome to hell. And so when you have this messaging going on around the event, it hurts the event. Now, there's currently a recession going on in Brazil.
That's a kind word to call it.
Okay. Yes. All right. We could say there's a depression going on in Brazil. The government is in turmoil. They have a lot of problems over there right now. And the people are really unhappy, and they're seeing this event going on, and they haven't bought into it.
Yeah.
And so it's hurting the image of the games. And so the way that this really works in your business is making sure that your stakeholders, this is your friends, your immediate family, that they have bought into your business.
Yeah.
And even if they're not working in your business, the fact that they support what you're doing, and maybe they're helping around the house more, or they're helping with ancillary things that make your life easier so you can focus.
Even if it's just not calling, asking you if you wanted to do lunch every day.
Right. And, I think that, worst case scenario, I've actually seen where stakeholders around the business owner have actually tried to sabotage what they were doing.
Oh, yes.
So I think it's really important to make sure, and we have a whole episode on this, I'll link it in the show notes, about family buy-in. And that's so important for your success.
And it goes beyond family too. When you have important vendors, especially ones where you interact with at a human level, maybe it's a supply shop down the street, someone who supplies goods that you turn into another good to sell. Your relationships with these people and their buy-in to your business is just as important, maybe more important, because, a lot of times small businesses will work together if times get tough. But if you don't have those kind of relationships develop, it can sometimes come back to bite you in the behind if you do not have those kind of relationships.
Right. And even, when you have customers that are raving fans of yours that tell everybody about your business, occasionally rewarding those people for helping you grow your business is really important.
Yes.
So shareholder buy-in, critical, right? It's so hard to run your business when you don't have that. So the next one, success does not occur overnight. And I think, the Olympics is a really good time to think about this because, one of the things they do is you see these star athletes and they talk about their backstory and how much time they put in. And think about these gymnasts that are 15 years old. They started gymnastics when they were 4.
They would have probably said, I was this many.
So if you think about it, it took them, 11 or 12 years to get to this point that they're on this stage.
And especially for gymnasts, there seems to be a very short window of being at the height of your game from like 15 to maybe 20. Better hit it and nail it good. I can't think of too many 30-year-old gymnasts at this point.
No, not really. And even, if you think of think of the swimmers, think of the soccer players and the basketball players, these people practice, they started playing when they were kids.
Yep.
And it took a lot of dedication and a lot of practice. We see the end result, right? When these people are like, when they get to the games and we're like, wow, this is amazing. And look how good they are at what they do. It didn't happen. They didn't pick this up 4 weeks ago.
No.
And now they're at the Olympics.
No, and it's the thing, it takes 10,000 hours to master something. Well, these people have mastered it over and over and over again to get to that level. So the thing is, you have to always keep working and understand that you have to make certain decisions to survive day to day sometimes, but your ultimate goal is to grow your ability to become better at what you do it faster, do it at less cost, finding new ways all the time to improve your business, because that's what will keep moving you to the next level and the next level.
One thing I'd like you to do this week is I'd like you to look back at the people who you follow, either, whether it's online or you really like their books, and go back and do some research on their story. And you'll notice that these people, they're not overnight successes. It may seem like it, like all of a sudden, like, you see, somebody on a TV show or somebody is advertising, their conference that, 1,500 people go to, and you're like, wow, look how fast that happened.
Yeah.
Go back and check out their backstory and see where they came from.
And there's two advantages to that too, because one, you see an opportunity of how they got from the point of starting out to being what you consider successful, and how they did it. And you might not be able to duplicate what they did, but there's definitely going to be takeaways you can learn from them. So it's a very important thing to do, I believe.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you look at,
I was going to say, it was called role modeling.
Role modeling?
Yeah, they're your role model. You're modeling your behavior after theirs.
Oh, yeah. No, that makes sense.
Not role playing.
Okay. So this week, do a little bit of research and see, even our own story, we've been in business for, 10 years. Right?
Yeah.
So it'll be 10 years in January.
Mm-hmm.
And so, a lot of people, I think they see the success that we have, and it looks like it happened really quickly. I think especially like in our current state with all the conferences and stuff that we go to. But, it took a really long time to get where we are. And we're still not where we want to be.
Not even close.
But, it does take time to build up your business to where you want it to be.
Yeah.
The average, business success story is 5 to 7 years. So that doesn't mean that you can't make a profit before then. It doesn't mean that, you can't leave your job before then, but it's not going to happen right away.
You're not going to step into a new business venture and within a year being so wealthy that you're taking your family on vacations every other month for a month and living at large for the rest of your life. I mean, it does not happen.
Right. And that's the thing. So, if you don't have the patience and the perseverance, you're not going to be successful. It's really hard work, and I think that's another thing that you can take away from this is if you look at, these athletes that, are on the world stage for the next 2 weeks, how much time and effort and practice did they put in for this 2 weeks?
Yeah. And what amazing discipline like those 15-year-old girls have had in the years leading up to their Olympic stage, to where I don't know if I have that level of discipline and dedication at this point. I mean, really.
Yeah, no, yeah. I agree. It's incredibly hard work. And I know, there are a lot of people out there that they don't like Gary Vaynerchuk because he's a workhorse, work hard, play hard. And some people look at that and they're like, well, I don't want my life to be like that. I don't want my life to be that hectic. And to be at his level,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got a huge staff of people, and he does, like, he works hard and he plays hard.
Mm-hmm.
To be at that level, I mean, that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And we're not looking for that level.
No.
But at least for me, like, he's an inspiration for me.
And don't be wrong too, or don't take this the wrong way. Hard work in and of itself is never enough to get you to a level you need to go. So, I could take an axe out and chop every tree down in my backyard for the next, I don't know, several months. We have several trees in our backyard.
We have a lot of trees.
Especially for my ability to cut them. But that's not going to get me closer to my goal. So there's an intentionality with the hard work too. The hard work has to be focused at your goals. That's why goals are so important, because without goals, you can't use and aim the hard work that you're capable of to get to the goal.
Right. I think that's the thing, is success is really about, it's not just working hard, but it's putting yourself in situations where you're going to make connections with people, where you're making good decisions and you're making smart decisions on how to work hard.
Yes.
Because, I can work really, really hard in my business and make absolutely no progress because I'm not working hard on the right things.
Yes.
And so once you figure out what those right things are and you start working hard at those, that's where success comes from.
And that's also why it's key to know all of the bits and pieces of your business, even the parts you find boring, is you need to understand enough about the subject to when you hire someone to help you, or you get your spouse in and they're helping you in the business, both of you can figure out, okay, well, you're better at this than I am, so I'm going to have you work on this while I work on this. You're going to have different skill sets. And when you're working smartly, you're going to be able to focus over time more of your energy into your strength and know enough to realize that the weaknesses are happening correctly.
Right. And so, like, if you going back to our story, the reason that I picked accounting, because I wasn't originally an accounting major in college, the reason that I picked accounting was because it was something that came really naturally to me. Mm-hmm. And then I did a job search, and I'm like, wow, there are a lot of jobs. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of opportunity in this field. And I like working with numbers. I'm a numbers person naturally. And I said, okay, so let me try this out. And then when I got my first job, I was lucky enough to work for a small firm that taught me, like, you know what? If you do this right, you can help a lot of people. And a lot of what we do as accountants is we work with the psychology of small business.
Yeah.
So, you're dealing with strife within families. You're dealing with, business owners who have fear or they don't have all the skills they need to have. And a good accountant is going to help that business owner with all of those aspects of building their business. And so that's something that really appealed to me because I'm naturally a teacher.
Yeah.
So I get to teach small business owners new skills. I get to help them look at new ways to do things. That's the fun part of being an accountant.
Yes.
It's not the form part. But by making those choices, because I was originally, like, my first major was political science. And you can be successful in that, but It is a much harder path, right? So I kind of looked at it and I said, all right, this is something that I can teach people. I talk to people about tax policy all the time and try to, influence their thoughts on tax policy. So I still get to do a little bit of that piece. But I found something that I was truly passionate about that I could also make a really good living doing.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about success, making good decisions, and putting yourself in the right place at the right time really helps.
Yes.
So be intentional. Okay, the next one, and I like this one a lot. Jeff actually came up with this one. Success requires a team, even in a solo sport. And I think most of us as small business owners, this is a solo sport for us, right? Usually it's one person working in the business. You might have a small team if you've evolved to that point. You might have a partner.
Or maybe even it's like your spouse maybe helps you with the bookkeeping, but has no other influence in on the business outside of that.
Yeah, it's so much easier to run a business when you get help. And this is something, it's funny because we've done a lot on our own for probably the last 8.5 years. And I think it was, when we started putting together the podcast, I think that's when we said okay, let's hire somebody to build the website for us. Let's, hire people to create graphics for us for the website and do editing, for some of the projects that we're working on. And I can't tell you how awesome it is to have that network of support.
Yes. And let's just focus on the more important issues. It's we're both what you would call big picture people. We're more strategic thinkers. We both think tactically in slightly different ways, but not around certain stuff that's important, like say ad copy and sales copy. We're both pretty bad at it. If we work at it together, we'll both get annoyed and it will be okay. But that's about as good as we go with sales copy.
Yeah.
But, we know it's one of our weaknesses, but we know ultimately when we have the sales copy, let's test out the headlines. If we're trying to actually do an ad, the headline has the most impact typically on conversion rates for sales copy. So if you have a good headline, people are more likely to be lured in. And so let's take the exact same ad copy and just play with the headline. And you play with one thing at a time and find the thing that works the best in that campaign, in that moment.
Yeah, but, having a team surrounding us, especially with the project that we're working on right now, which if you want to learn more about it, go to smallbizlife.com and sign up for our email list. It's coming soon. It's going to be awesome. And it's free. Shh. Because I love giving away free stuff. I do.
Well, that's pretty much all we've done so far, so.
But I love the opportunity to be able to do that. So yeah, go to smallbizlife.com, sign up for the newsletter, and be one of the first people to hear about our next free offering because it's going to be cool.
Pound soon.
So, having all those people around us though has just been awesome.
Yeah.
And it's taken a lot of stress off of both of us. Because there are some things that we're not as good at. We can write sales copy. Is it good? That's why you have somebody else look at it for you, right? And that's why, even having a group of people that you can say, hey, can you take a look at this for me?
Give me feedback.
Right. So, in our Facebook group, Melissa the Coach, who's a financial coach at melissathecoach.com, just built a new website.
Yeah.
And she posted it in the group and said, hey guys, can I just get feedback? And she had a whole bunch of people who helped her out with that and took a look at it. And we looked at it on different phones and different mobile environments with different browsers. And, just having something like that can really help a lot.
Especially when it comes to websites. I mean, good navigation is something large companies spend a lot of money figuring out how to do. And it's still really easy to screw up. The more content you have on there, the more ideas you're trying to put through one website, the harder it is to get navigation right. So you need feedback from people. So since you can't afford a budget and to pay some company to do testing with the general public on your design, you need friends. This is where masterminds or Facebook groups come in super useful, at least when they're active.
Right. And if you're looking for a group, come check out our Facebook group. Facebook.com/group/smallbizlife. We have a phenomenal group of people that have just been so helpful to each other. And it's great to be able to have a group that you can bounce ideas off of.
Yes.
So, if you're kind of looking to build a team on a budget, right? this finding supportive Facebook groups is a really good way to do that.
Yes.
So that makes me happy. I'm glad that we've been able to kind of, put that group together and have people come to it and find us that way, and help each other out. Cause it's such a cool environment, so I love that. All right. And then the last one, this is mine because this is my wheelhouse. Taxes are everywhere.
I'm sorry. Just the word taxes.
I know it hurts your brain. So it's kind of interesting because I don't think a lot of people know this, that when a U.S. athlete wins an Olympic medal, they also get a stipend from the U.S. Olympic Committee. And if you win a gold medal, it's $25,000, which is really cool because it helps defer like travel costs and training costs and things like that. But in the U.S., unlike many countries, that is taxable income.
Of course. Why would it not be?
And so, for a lot of these athletes, they're treating this, even if it's a hobby, they're treating it like a business.
Yeah.
Because if they do get any of these cash prizes, that's income and it's taxable. And if they don't keep good records and they're not, tracking their mileage back and forth to training or their travel expenses or their training expenses, then all of that income will be taxable.
Wow.
So, it's really important that you make sure as a small business owner that you're using, awesome tools, some of which are free, some of which are pretty low cost, to help you track your expenses.
And I think one of the confusions people make sometimes when they do stuff on the side that they either enjoy, it's usually enjoy or a hobby where there's, a little bit of money they make, but not a lot. And maybe they are or not considering this to be a business. Your definition of what is business revenue and the federal government is probably different. And if they do happen to find out that you're making money and they're not getting their piece of it, they will come after you to get it. So the best thing to do is, no matter what, treat your expense and possible revenue-bearing hobbies or part-time businesses as a business early. It'll be easier to grow and expand if you decide to go that way. And you'll find a lot of additional savings are just sitting out there, and will actually maybe make your take-home pay from your regular job even greater.
Right. And, here's the thing. So, a lot of people ask me, can I deduct losses on my hobbies? And if it's a hobby and you're not actively marketing it like a business, and really, I guess the IRS's definition of the difference between a business and a hobby really has a lot to do with advertising and marketing.
Okay.
Which, today it's so much easier to put yourself out there as a business.
I'm putting my content up on Facebook, trying to draw people into my website.
Right. And, I'm trying to monetize it. Maybe I'm putting ads on it, or I've got an Amazon affiliate link, something like that. So I'm trying to do something to monetize it. I'm advertising, my content or my business out there. And I'm trying to make this a go, where you figure 20, 30 years ago, you had to, spend a ton of money on, yellow page ads and newspaper ads. And now there are so many free advertising venues that it's really easy, to turn your hobby into a business. But, worst case scenario, if your endeavor is classified as a hobby, the worst thing that can happen is that you can't show a loss.
Yeah.
But if you did make any money, then you can use your expenses, up to the point where you show no profit. Basically where your revenue equals your expenses and you have no profit. So
if you treat it a little bit like a business, you can actually have a self-funding hobby.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So you can generate some income and it won't really cost you anything in taxes because your expenses are offsetting that. So that's worst case scenario. The thing that I see is I see a lot of people that maybe they have a blog post that goes viral and they start generating ads or revenue off their ads. And now they're going, oh crap, well now I owe all this money in taxes. Whereas if you just get into the habit of tracking these things now, then you don't have to try to recreate the wheel later. And I even see this a lot with like people that publish their books, they self-publish and they're like, oh my God, my book is starting to sell and I'm going to owe all this money in taxes.
Yes. Your worst case scenario for your book launch should not be you make money.
Right. But it freaks people out because they're like, oh my God, I made money. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
And, then we look back and say, okay, well, are you deducting your web hosting? Are you deducting travel to conferences to promote your book and sell your book?
Or to become a better writer or whatever the conference is for.
Right. And like, oh no, I didn't really keep track of that stuff. Okay, well, now we have a problem. Now we need to try to go back and try to see what we can recreate.
You'll have a problem because the IRS will have no problem taking all of the money they can get from you.
And especially, with digital sales, everything is being tracked now. So if you earn money through PayPal, you're going to get a 1099. If you earn money through Amazon, you're going to get a 1099. If you earn money through Google Ads, you're going to get a 1099.
Mm-hmm.
So the income, the IRS knows about all the income.
That's right.
That's easy to track.
Yes.
It's our expense side that we need to make sure that we're taking care of.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So that's my little tax tip of the day. And, I'll give you, one of the apps that I really love, and I'll link this in the show notes because we have a coupon code for it. I love MileIQ. MileIQ is an app that automatically tracks every trip that you make, which is actually kind of funny because we went for a bike ride yesterday and it tried to track that as a drive. So
I'm trying to get her to label it a business expense, but she says we cannot.
No, bike rides are not a business expense. But what it does is it tracks every trip that you drive. And then you swipe one way if it's business and the other way if it's personal on your phone. And it tracks all of those trips for you.
And the amazing thing is a lot of times, like when you're a small business owner, because it's small biz life, I have to run to the grocery store for the family and to the bank for this and to Staples and like 4 or 5 errands, but only one's business related. And I don't want to, I might not track that on my own. But with MileIQ, it's like she said, simple swiping and assigning.
Well, and it's funny because, I'm usually really good that the things that make it into my calendar make it into my mileage log.
Yes.
But like last week, I had to go to the post office to mail something to a client. And that in the past is mileage I never would have remembered
You
to write
just don't
down.
remember to put it in there. And same thing, when I was doing a lot of client traveling or whatever, I go through my calendar at the end of the quarter, like, oh, Kristen's going to yell at me. My mileage log isn't up to date. And that's the stuff that gets in there. But all of the little trips, especially the ones that are part of a larger series of errands you're doing in the day, just disappear and and there's a lot more of those than you realize.
Yeah. So I really like this app because it tracks each trip individually and it tracks them all. Yeah. So I know, like personally, like my mileage is this is like the first full year that I'm using it. My mileage is probably up 30%.
Wow.
And I haven't done any more driving.
Mm-hmm.
It's just tracking wise, I'm doing a lot better job. So you can check out that app at mileiq.com. You can go onto your iPhone or your Android phone, download the MileIQ app. There is a free trial. You can do up to 40 drives per month for free. If you want to subscribe, I think it's $60 a year, so it ends up being $5 a month, and then there's a 20% off. If you sign up for your account online, there's a coupon code box, and if you put in Small Biz Life 20, you'll save 20% off.
And I know some of you are worried about signing up for these new fancy apps that come out because sometimes the people behind them go out of business. Microsoft has bought this company. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, Microsoft. You'll probably see ads for them on TV.
Yeah.
because now that Microsoft's bought them, they have a bigger ad budget. But yeah, they're not going anywhere. You know, Microsoft saw the value in this company, and this is actually an acquisition that I think they made a really
strategic. Yeah.
They made a really good choice on this one, because I think the more people that find out about this and how easy it is to use, and
how much more you can track because of it.
Yeah, and one thing that's actually really cool is that if you do driving for charity or for medical on the personal side, if you swipe slowly, it'll ask you, is this medical miles? Is it charitable miles? Is it commuting miles? Yeah, so it'll keep track of those personal miles as well and categorize those. So it's amazing what this app does. It's so cool. So check out Mile IQ. And I'm telling you, it's going to save you a bundle. So I hope, this episode kind of, wove in a couple different directions, but I think it's really important, and I teach this to my college students, that we look at the world around us and what's going on around us and see what we can learn from it. And so I hope that this episode has helped you kind of look at things a little bit differently for your business and go out into the world and see what you can observe around you, even from non-business sources, that might help you with your business.
And when you're feeling really overstressed at some point this next week, which will happen since you're a small business owner, take 5 minutes and think about which Olympic sport represents your business and your mind. And go to our Facebook group and let us know. Ours is curling.
Yeah. Because I don't know how it's curling, but I think you just like curling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for spending this time with us this week. And we'll see you again next time. Take care.
This was Small Biz Life.